Goeiemorgen, good morning to the Cape Townians aware. Guys, my name is Viljoen, all the way from Welcome Bay in Tauranga. We're on the North Island in New Zealand. This morning, my wife has decided to join us to give us a bit of a female perspective of what happens in the mind of a woman when they immigrate to New Zealand. So, with no further ado, I'm going to introduce her. She was previously on our program as well. Her name is Mariska. Mariska's got a story to tell us this morning.
Morning.
Alright, tell us a bit about the LSD that we did.
Okay, the LSD, as it stands for Look, See, Decide, in our instance, I always thought it meant Look, See, Jan already decided. So I actually just joined him. At that stage, we were actually looking at going on an overseas European holiday, and he said, no, we're going to New Zealand. I want to see what it's about. I want to immigrate. So in my mind, I never even thought of immigrating. And one thing I can say is talking about immigration and actually getting to the point of immigrating is two very different things. When you talk about immigration, it's something to look forward to, and you're so happy and you're so excited. But when it comes to the point where you're actually coming, it's a very different ball game. For me, it was anyway. Our LSD for me was an emotional roller coaster. I thought it was going to be one happy
I have
holiday.
brought tissues this morning, so I have brought tissues. I'm ready for that.
It's not a happy holiday. The one day I would wake up and New Zealand is just the most wonderful place on earth. It's so beautiful and I can't wait to live here. The next day I'll wake up and ask him, so what is so special about New Zealand? Why do you want to come to New Zealand? I'll rather stay in South Africa. And then just the very next day I'll say, who doesn't want to live here? So for me it was very emotional. 2 weeks of hell, I could say. I am an overthinker, so I think that possibly made it even worse for me. So everything, I just played around with it in my mind over and over again. So it made it very difficult for me. I am also a very anxious person, so everything was just even worse for me. Everything was just worse for me. So then you get to the point where you actually think, okay, Jan is coming to New Zealand, so I'll just have to join him. And in a way, you are excited. I was excited to leave the country because I knew it was the best thing to do. But my head said one thing and my heart spoke totally a different language. At that stage, we had 4 cats, and for me, that was the worst thing ever. They were like our kids. So when we were still on our LSD, I was thinking about, what am I going to do? I can't give away these cats. It was little things that was just so huge for me. So then we got back home, and that's when he said, okay, are we going or aren't we going? And we decided, okay, no, we are going. So then everything started. The anxiety got worse. I had to say goodbye to so many things. I had to give my kids away. I had to say goodbye to my parents. I had to say goodbye to my kids and my grandchild at that stage, which was very difficult. And it is hard for me to even say goodbye to my life in South Africa, to say goodbye to the home that we lived in, where our kids grew up. So I was in the fortunate position of having someone that I could confide in, that could give me pointers and that didn't judge me. Because you have friends that you speak to them and then they'll just go, but why do you want to leave then? If this is how you're feeling, why do you want to leave? But for me, I knew that it was the best thing, and it's not that I didn't want to come, it was just difficult for me to come. So I didn't need them to tell me, why do you want to go, rather stay in South Africa. I needed someone to go through every single point of immigrating with me so that I can make peace with it. So I was very fortunate to have a friend in South Africa that was actually a psychologist who could give me some pointers. So
he's actually also now leaving South Africa, by the way.
He's also coming to New Zealand, so I'll have a support system here again. Yeah. The one thing that he told me when I said that I didn't want to leave my home, he said, but your home is where your husband is. So that's the one thing that I kind of held on to. Wherever Jan is, that's where my home is. So it doesn't matter. I don't need a tissue. Your home is it's just a house. But what I did, and what he also told me to do, is to give myself time frames. So I would give myself time frames. We did, to say when will we put the house on the market. I gave myself a time frame to say, okay, when will we make a plan to give the cats away, so that I can work through it in stages and not have this thing just in my mind the whole time. I have to do this, I have to do that, we have to do this, I have to give the cats away. I gave myself time frames. So when the time came, the house was on the market, it sold very quick, and then when the next date came, we had a house for our cats. And I had to give myself time to sort out my personal papers. That's all my photos, school letters, all that sentimental stuff that we keep hanging on forever.
You should have given me a date for the heart operation. It made life a bit easier for me as well.
I took a few days because it was very emotional for me. And I just sit in my room and work through all those letters. And everything that was really sentimental to me, I just kept it. I put it in a box and I decided I'm going to bring it with me. If it was that sentimental to me when I started packing, I just thought that one day I would like to have a look at this again. So I just packed everything in a box and I brought it with me. I haven't looked at it yet again, but I know in the future that I'll probably want to look at it again. It's old stuff. School stuff.
We didn't know when we were going. We just knew we were going. Everything else was at immigration at that stage. So it was a bit of walk with faith, if I want to say it that way. Because in between sorting out her papers and getting on the plane at the unknown date, we had a lot of hiccups in between. So
yeah, and I think I relied a lot on him to sort out everything else, because I was just not in the emotional state to do that. I am actually a very strong emotional person, so that is why this was so difficult for me. I couldn't understand why I'm getting so emotional and so anxious about stuff that's really not that big. I had a lot worse stuff happen in my life before, so it was really a surprise for me to be this emotional about it. Okay, and then I started getting very excited, and the anxiety got a little bit better, so I was actually starting to look forward to coming to New Zealand. And we didn't say goodbye to everyone at the airport. That's the one thing. I know every person is different, but for me, I couldn't deal with saying goodbye at the airport. It just wouldn't work for me. So what we did is we flew on the Sunday. The Saturday morning, we just had a big breakfast with all our friends and family that were there at that stage, and we just said goodbye to all of them. So it was a very happy occasion. And at the airport, it was just my daughter that was there with her family, and my son's friends came. So I didn't have to say goodbye to my mom or anyone. I already did it. And that made it better for me, because then I could actually get excited. Just get on the plane, look forward to the flight, to the journey, getting to New Zealand, starting my new life. So that worked for me. I don't know if you agree with me.
Yeah, I did. I think keep the amount of people coming to the airport to the minimum. Airports don't have enough of this stuff. Really, it's almost probably the place there and the gravesite that you'll cry the most in your life. So
one thing I can also say that I did, but this is just how I am, when they came to pack our stuff, they came packing the one day, and then the next day they came to remove all the boxes from the house, so the house was empty. And then I burnt a candle in every room. Now I'm getting emotional.
We have these. Yeah, it's a process, and everybody goes through the process on their own way. And I think it's quite important that you go through this process in a way that satisfies you, and in a way that sustains you at the end of the day, because you're leaving everything that you have ever built up, everything that you know, all the people that you know, I mean friends, family, everything you're staying behind. you're moving to the furthest place in the world from South Africa, which is not a bad thing. But New Zealand is very far from South Africa, and you've got to do this right because you do not want to go back. And sadly, people are going back because I think at the end of the day, their planning wasn't 100% correct. So, but this is not a planning session this morning. It's all about her, not about me. So, how's the emotions?
No, I'm better
Go.
now. And then the other thing is, it does get better. All the emotions, I mean, when you look back, like today, it's still emotional, but it does get better.
Now, I had one shitty day, to be quite frank. I stopped at a cafe and bought a Coke here in New Zealand, and it cost me, and that time I was still paying with my South African rands, and it cost me 45 rand for a tin of Coke, and I thought, goodness me, am I ever going to survive this place? That was my one down day, but I think from there on, everything changed for me on the inside, and I knew this is the price they are charging me. Either I'm going to pay that and get on with my life, or I'm going to sit and mope about a 45 rand Coke, which is not really 45 rand, it was $4.50, which is about the price of a coffee. So today, that's nothing.
You got emotional about very different stuff than I did.
So that's how we take it different.
Okay, to a different point now. When we arrived in New Zealand, I was in a very different state of mind by then. I was very happy to be here. I was very excited to be here. I am, as I said, a very anxious person, so I'm a very anxious driver as well. So traffic in Cape Town didn't work for me. I told him when we moved to Cape Town, if I have to go to town to work into the city centre, I'm not working. So my jobs were always just like 2 kilometers from the house. I don't drive.
Well.
But in New Zealand, it's very different for me. I'm not that anxious. No one hoots. No one chases you. I drive my 80 kilometers an hour and I don't have to worry about it. I drive everywhere. He doesn't have to worry about me. In Cape Town, he had to drive me everywhere. If I wanted to go somewhere in the city centre, he had to drive me. If I wanted to go, I wouldn't even think of driving to the Strand or Gordons Bay to visit my mum if he wasn't there. It's just, it didn't work for me. But here, I go to Hamilton, I go everywhere, and it's not an issue for me anymore. So the one thing I can say, when you come to New Zealand, try to join a church maybe, or try to join. There's a lot of South African women's groups that you can join, which I did. That was also difficult for me because I am a very private person. So for me to go out on my own, to just walk into a room full of people that I don't know, it was very difficult for me, but I made some very good friends. So being here 18 months now, I have a few very good friends, and when I walk into the room now, I know most of the women, so it gets better. Things that I had to get used to in New Zealand is I had to fuel my own car. In the beginning, I didn't want to do that. I just said to him, okay, I need fuel. I'll meet you at the petrol station and you can do it. But now I'm okay. I go to one petrol station every time because I know that station. I don't know, it's just the way I am. But that I can do that now. And then also the cooking and the baking is a little bit different in New Zealand. The ingredients differ, but you also get used to that. In the beginning, I struggled a little bit with some of the ingredients, but by now I've figured it out. If you've got friends here, you can just phone them and they'll tell you what to buy instead of what. So everything works now. What else is there, Jan? Oh, okay. Dealing with the family back home. It's not that hard anymore. I told someone the other day, it's sad to say, but you get used to not being with them. We still have FaceTime with my daughter and my son and the grandkids. My daughter and grandkids
daily.
But it is difficult because they get to know their grandparents on a flat screen. So it's difficult, but you get used to it. I went back to South Africa in February to visit them when my second grandchild was born. And coming back then, it was bad again for me. For 2 weeks, I couldn't speak to my grandchild over the phone. I just started crying, so Grandpa had to do all the talking. But now I'm in a space where it's okay with it's okay again. So you get used to it. The thing is, everyone says you don't have a support system in New Zealand and you had a support system in South Africa. That's true. But for us, for me, it was like I removed myself as a support system from my daughter's life or from my mom's life. So that is what makes it very hard to leave. But luckily in our instance, everyone agreed that we should come. Our parents were very much happy for us to come. They knew that it was the best thing for us. The kids said we must come. They're not going to be in South Africa forever, so we miss them a lot, and we know that they miss us, but it gets better.
And we were here 3 months, and then my father died. And I think me trying to get a plane ticket back home, it just didn't work out. I would have arrived after his funeral. So we decided at the end of the day to have a WhatsApp funeral. Now, it may sound weird, but we had somebody with a camera or with a telephone at the funeral, and we were watching on the other side via WhatsApp. And this was in a little town there in near Mossel Bay, and the signal wasn't that good, but luckily the signal held for the whole period of time. So it's things like funerals that you are going to miss, but you've got to make up your mind, you've got to make up your emotional side to that. It does happen, I promise you, it does happen. So.
And the one thing I said to myself when I made the switch in my mind that I'm coming to New Zealand, I will never think of going back. So, you stuck with me in New Zealand forever. You miss your country, you miss your friends, you miss your family, but this is home now. So I have never thought of going back. When I went back to South Africa in February, I was there for 2 weeks and I told him I'm changing my ticket, I just want to come back home. So it does get better, and this becomes home. When we were here 3 months, I said to him the one morning, it feels like I've been living here my whole life. It is so easy. I know it's not easy for everyone because everyone's journey is different and everyone's personality is different. But it was not easy or not difficult for me to adjust and to settle in New Zealand. It was a very easy transformation for me.
As I always say to people, if you are in Tauranga and you want a cup of coffee, I will buy you one. And sit around the table and talk. And I met somebody last night as well, and we just sat around the table and talked a bit. But our house will always be open. We have a couch here. I put the South Africans if they walk in, because I can put this down in the middle, because I know there's a lot of emotions here. And with South Africans coming here, if you feel you need somebody to reach out, she's available. I promise you, she's really available.
I'll reach out because you're available.
It's more a thing of you can't lean on one person. We lean on each other and uphold each other in that way. So,
Natasha is asking, what are your thoughts of people that come back after 8 months? Natasha, as I said, everyone's journey is different and everyone's situation is different. That I also know someone that's going back now, and what I say to her as well, if that is your decision, then you do it. You do what is best for you and what's best for your family. Don't listen to what other people say. They don't live your life. They don't know what you're going through. They're not in your shoes. Everyone's journey is different.
The big thing is, I think the moment she steps off the plane, she will realize where she was and where she is now. Sad about that. But it's everybody's own journey, and sadly, as I said prior in the video, the way that you plan your journey is also very, very important. You must plan your journey not to come back. If you only want to come for a year, why would you even come to New Zealand? I mean, you can just as well go to Qatar or UAE or even anywhere else.
Yeah, I think it's a different journey for everyone. If I can give you some advice or some pointers that worked for me, immigrating to a different country, we were in, well, it was a good and bad situation that our immigration process took about 1.5 years.
That's right.
Yeah, almost 2 years. So in the one instance that was bad because we were hanging. We didn't know where we were going, if we were going. But on the other hand, we had a year and a half to say goodbye. So that made it easier. We had time to travel to family and say proper goodbye. So what I would say is, if you need to talk to someone, don't be shy. Get yourself a psychologist. Get yourself a friend that won't judge you. Talk to someone. Find someone that you can confide in without being judged. You get judged a lot. It's sad, but you do. Then take time to say goodbye, not only to the people in South Africa, but also to your life in South Africa. We drove to to the towns that we grew up, which was bad in one way, because it didn't look at all like it did when we were living there. But on the other hand, it was good to just see it again and realize again that you are doing the right thing. So we drove back to my grandma's house and we visited the graves and we did all of that. And we drove to my dad's, visited him, my brother, we visited 3 times in that time. So that was great to say goodbye to them properly. And we lived with Jan's mom and dad while he was still alive for 3 months, which was very good. So he got to say a proper goodbye to his dad. We knew when we were leaving that we're not going to see him again.
Gives you a bit of closure at the end of the day.
Yes, it does.
To know you've really tried your best and said goodbye, as you said.
Yeah.
So.
And then grieve as much as you have to. It's like death in the family, I promise you that. It's not easy. So grieve as much as you can, as you have to. I cried for days. I cried in every room. I just thought about all the laughter, all the chaos we had in the braai room. Everything I had to leave behind. I grieved a lot, and I think it was good for me in the end. And then also take as much photos as you can. What I did, which also helped me, we take a lot of pictures anyway. So when you have time, then when you get to New Zealand, make yourself a little photo book. So then you can look at all the photos you took, put them in a memory book, and that helps you with the process. I think it helped me a lot. I do that a lot with difficult situations in my life. I just make a photo book of it, so that really helps. It helps to do that. Then you can just remember all the good times. And
you got to bring something from South Africa. To be quite frank, a lot of people sell everything that side, but you're selling your memories off. I remember the day that our container arrived, and we only had a 20-foot container, not a massive one, but we had a 20-foot container. And stuff came out of that container that I didn't even remember that I had. And I was so glad that I had this stuff. She doesn't always believe that stuff is important for a man, but it's one of those things. So.
Yes, what else do you think we should touch on?
I want to know if there's anybody that's got any questions regarding the journey she's been on and so on. Because you're talking to her this morning, not to me. I also can tell you that she's the new face of our company. She's a director. She's also the person that deals with your insurance, the claims. When new policies gets done, this is the face of that. So that's where she comes in. I saw a question like that on what are you doing to survive from Nita Pina?
Yeah.
Are you working for yourself? So she's basically working for our company, and that is what she do. She does not have a degree. I've got a thing from Stellenbosch, so degrees is not that important in this country, but that's for a different time.
That was another thing that was quite difficult for me when we were in South Africa. I worked since my 16th birthday, so I was used to earning my own money, always working, so it was very hard for me in South Africa. That was another time frame that I had to give myself, is to resign, and it was very difficult for me to think about not having my own money, not working. It was very hard for me, but I did it. And coming to New Zealand, I applied for so many jobs which I just never even got an answer to. I know some people are lucky and they do get jobs very quick. So at one stage, we were in the fortunate position that his salary was enough for us to survive on. So I didn't have to work, and you don't need a lot to survive on. Let me tell you, the salary was not big, but we survived. And yeah, so we decided that I'm just gonna, he'll have to appoint someone to help him, so I'll just do that. So that's what I'm doing at the moment.
So that's a question from Anel, if we will ever come back.
No.
Anel, I don't care what they can do to South Africa. It can never turn around to where we are now. It's just, I can't describe it really. I mean, you got to be here to understand what I'm saying. This country is absolutely paradise. It's absolutely wonderful here. So the easy question would be no, we won't return.
I won't return to South Africa to live. It is still the most beautiful country in the world. New Zealand is just as beautiful and it is safe. As I said, I went back. I don't, I will never go back to live there. I made that decision when I set my foot on that plane that I'm not going back. This is my life now and this is where I live, so I'm not going back. How did you manage for the first 2 months with no support?
That's from Natasha Hampson.
Natasha, as I said, luckily I was in a different mindset at that stage. So, and my youngest son came with us. If I didn't bring any of my kids with me, I think it would totally be a different ball game. But having him here helped a lot. And we made a few friends very quick, like in 2 or 3 weeks. So that really helped me. And we joined the church, which also helped.
Yeah. Guys, there's South Africans in every town here. There's tons of South Africans here. They speak English, they speak Afrikaans. Some do not want to speak Afrikaans, but that's not a problem. The big thing is, if you are here, reach out to them as soon as possible. And if you don't know South Africans around you, reach out to us, reach out to the page, ask on the page, is there any other South Africans? I think there was a question in Palmerston North or something like that. And that question was quickly answered and people reached out to each other. You've got to do that. You're not here on your own, I promise you.
Elishma Libber asks if 2 years is a good time frame to. I think 2 years is a good
it's
time
more than
frame
enough.
to
More
give
than
yourself to get settled. Yeah, it's been 18 months now, and it feels just like it felt in South Africa. What was very good for me is that where we live in Tauranga is very much the same as Cape Town. So it feels like I'm home. Doesn't matter where I am, it feels like home. It's not much different than it was in Cape Town, and I speak my language every day, so there is not much difference for me.
Quick answer to Nita Pinar. No, we do not have citizenship yet. We're still in residence. Marinel, what do you need for family of 4 to survive? We did a full video on that. That's a long story.
Chanel, pack up a container and bring everything. Yes.
Do that.
We have someone with us at the moment. Jog, he's moving into his own home today. Very excited about that. His wife is coming Saturday. He said to me, if he knew what he knows now, he could have brought 2 containers filled with stuff. The amount that it cost him to set up house in New Zealand, it's very expensive. And there's not that much variety here. In South Africa, there are a lot more variety of furniture. So bring everything you can. I say that to everyone. Everyone's different, as I said. So some people will say, no, just get on the plane, don't bring anything. But I would say bring everything you can.
I am working closely with him. At the end of the day, we will have a figure what it's going to cost him to set up his small 3-bedroom flat. So I'll share that with the page, but that'll be in another week or so.
Yeah. Mariska, we were lucky. I could come with Jan. I don't think I would have been able to leave South Africa if I didn't come with him. So we were lucky, yes. We all came together.
Natasha Hampson, are Kiwis accepting foreigners? Yes, there are foreigners here as well. So everybody that is here is either an immigrant or was an immigrant. Lizelle, we are going to make that video. I started making a video the other day, but in my stupidity, I didn't record the thing.
Yes, so if you have any questions, please pop them up there. I'll try to answer them.
Guys, we're going to say thank you. It was a lovely morning, a bit emotional, more emotional
I'm better
than
now.
normal.
I'm better now.
My name is Jan Viljoen, all the way from Welcome Bay in Tauranga. What I'm going to do this morning, I'm quickly going to walk outside with you. I've been promising this for quite a while. I want to show you the view we have here. The sun is now at that stage where it's not that... Sorry for getting my face in the camera now. Where the sun is, it's now getting earlier light. So I just want to go outside and show you guys This is what we wake up every day to. So, alright, let me come to a point where I can stand still. That's the sun coming up there, all the way over the lakes. Down at the back, you're going to see Mount Manganui there now. All these lakes. This is from my little deck that I have here in Welcome Bay. So that's me. Short story this morning. Thanks a lot to Mariska for joining us. Guys, time for me to love you and leave you. And see you all next week, same time, same place.